What's good, y'all? It's your boy, and we back at it like a crack addict with another WWE video talking about the most useless, pointless gimmicks in the WWE. Because we all know that the WWE has been going on for years and years and years and decades and centuries and millenniums and all that jazz, you know what I'm saying? And they've had so many gimmicks that they've introduced or reintroduced or got rid of or reintroduced, and then you think to yourself, you use your hindsight and you're like, that shit was kind of pointless, wasn't it? And I feel like there's stuff from back in the day that they got rid of and realized it's pointless. But honestly, I think there's a couple things nowadays that are pointless too. And they're introducing some pointless things too, like the Crown Jewel Championship. Who the fuck cares about the Crown Jewel Championship, man? Because I know I sure as hell don't. And I'm sure you at home sure as hell don't either. So today, you know what we gotta do? We gotta talk about it, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into that, man, I just go ahead and like the video, comment down below what you think is one of the most pointless gimmicks that you think I'm going to talk about, or you just think is going to be one of the most pointless gimmicks or things in WWE that genuinely have no matter whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And hit the subscribe button, man. I know you want to subscribe. I know you want to subscribe. And go ahead and subscribe to the anime channel as well. I got a video dropping on there. It might come out before this one. It probably will already be released. Talking about Down and On, new anime, new hit anime, you know what I'm saying? But enough of the anime jazz, enough of this intro jazz. Let's get straight to the video, man. You know, I already mentioned it once, so I might as well start with the biggest elephant in the room right now, and that's the Crown Jewel Championship. Just introduced at Bad Blood, now at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view that they're obligated to do every single year with the Saudi Arabian government because of that insane billion-dollar deal that they got. Now they have a champion versus champion match for the World Heavyweight Championship for the men's and the women's to determine the Crown Jewel champion. A championship that will only be used at Crown Jewel and won't be shown on WWE TV, won't be mentioned on WWE PLEs, won't be mentioned on WWE TV whatsoever. And that's the whole headline for this Crown Jewel pay-per-view. Now let's be honest. Did you ask for this? Yeah, I didn't think so. I know I sure as hell didn't ask for this. What is WWE doing? Triple H has had some banger hits over his course as being, you know, the chief content creator of the WWE. But this might be his biggest miss. I ain't gonna hold you. I know there's probably a select few people, I'm gonna be honest, you're in the minority that are saying,
you don't even know what they're gonna do with the championship, bro. Like, don't even, why are you complaining? All WWE fans do is complain.
I'm gonna be honest, usually I'm on that side of the boat because wrestling fans do complain a whole lot. But this time, I think they got every right to complain. Why should we care about the Crown Jewel Championship? This should have just been Night of Champions. Am I wrong? Am I tripping for thinking that? I mean, we already brought back the King of the Ring. We finally made the King of the Ring mean something. We had Night of Champions last year. Why do we have to have Crown Jewel? You know what I mean? Like, Crown Jewel is tied with being nothing but an exhibition pay-per-view. And when you release a championship, the Crown Jewel Championship that has so much gold, ooh, we don't give a fuck about that. We just want to see good stories and good wrestling. It's going to be a good match between Gunther and Cody and Liv and Nia. But at the end of the day, they're just going to go back to their separate feuds. And we aren't going to ever talk about this again until next year when we're saying the same thing. It's pointless. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it was a terrible decision to make. It should have just been Night of Champions. And I'm going to stand on that. Simple. Speaking of gimmick pay-per-views, though, I think one of the most useless gimmick pay-per-views was, and this is going to make some of y'all mad, bragging rights / the Survivor Series exhibition matches. Like, I get it. It's cool to see champion versus champion go brand for band, go band for band. And it's cool seeing them back in the day get the bragging rights of being Raw better than SmackDown, SmackDown better than Raw. But once again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter after. There's like 2-3 weeks where all of a sudden everybody wants to team up like they weren't feuding all year. You know what I mean? That don't even make no sense. So they can get bragging rights over the other brand and get a stupid trophy. Even as a kid, I was like, this is kind of stupid. Can I just get back to my wrestling, please? Like I said, it led to cool exhibition matches, especially Survivor Series. The NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown was lit. It was lit as hell. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it gives us good matches, but at the end of the day, it don't matter. They're gonna go back to doing whatever they were doing before. They're gonna go back to being infused with each other. Like, that just makes no sense. Like, for bragging rights over the other brand, everybody wants to be kumbaya, wants to be best friends, wants to be holding hands for 3 weeks, and then wants to go back to beefing after that because they realize it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. I've always personally, like I said, I think some of the Survivor Series matches have been good. Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar, for example. But especially when it was bragging rights. I just think that shit is stupid. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, that shit has no place in the WWE. I am so glad that it's Survivor Series War Games now instead of brand warfare. Like, I'm trying to, see both sides, but you can't convince me that that shit had a point to it. It was pointless. It did not. It was useless, pointless, like Pythagorean theorem. Okay, another gimmick in the WWE that's been pointless and pointless and pointless, especially recently. Back in the day, it used to mean something, but right now, with not many people moving brands, even Triple H even had to say, like, sometimes the best strategy for the draft is to keep your same people. That's when you knew it was going to be booty cheeks, bro. The draft is becoming more and more pointless every year. Now, I will say they've been doing their thing, keeping the brand split, an actual brand split this time. I'm not going to fret on that. Last year, they were not doing good whatsoever. Like, it didn't even matter to me. And I feel like I'm one of those, like, minority people that if there's going to be a brand split, keep it split. Like, people showing up every now and then, them giving reasons for it, okay, cool. I can vouch for that because then it makes it feel special. But when everybody last year was like flip-flopping brands, it didn't matter at that point. What is the point of the draft? And it sure as hell didn't help that nobody changed brands. Like, some of the biggest draft picks this year, other than the NXT call-ups, because those were needed, but some of the biggest draft picks were LWO going to Raw. Like, what? What are we doing? What happened to the days when we had John Cena going from Raw to SmackDown back to Raw? Like, let me see something wild like that. I feel like it was better when it was like do. Like, it felt like a lottery versus just random old timing WWE alumni coming up and saying Raw picks, SmackDown picks, like, we don't care. Superstar shakeup, draft, make it mean something, please, next year, because I do think it has a chance to actually have a point to it next year with with Raw going on Netflix. They're definitely going to want to switch the brands up. I personally feel like they're going to try to bring Cody over to Raw because Netflix probably wants the WWE Championship on Raw. But that's my personal opinion. So I do think it has a chance to mean something again. But right now, especially the last 2 years of the draft, it just lost aura, just lost passion. You can tell they're trying to rush through it. They just want to get it over with. It just has not been hitting. And of course, the months leading up to the draft, like the 3-4 weeks after WrestleMania, like, just as there's a draft coming, they can't really start a storyline. So it's just kind of awkward and weird. Like, it's either go all out with a draft or just cancel it and like do like trades. They could have did trades, like 4 or 5 trades this year, and I think it would have did the same effect. I'm not gonna lie. This one might come as a shock to some people, but I personally think that rematch clauses in the WWE are becoming more pointless and more pointless by the year. Now, it used to be back in the day, everybody got a rematch clause. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts. And it was a nice way to keep stories going that they wanted to keep going. But now, it's like 1 out of every 5 title reigns gets a rematch clause. And then some people will complain about the fact that they didn't get a rematch clause, and they're like trying to like configure a way to make it make sense, but it doesn't make sense. If you lost your championship, you should get a rematch clause. It's that simple. And if everyone's not going to get a rematch clause, I think it's kind of pointless at that point, because then it's picky and choosy. It's not fair to everybody. That just makes no sense. Like, I know wrestling and logic kind of don't go hand in hand most of the time, but I feel like this is one of those times where it needs to go hand to hand. How come I held the championship for 3 months, I lost it, and I don't get a rematch ever? Give me a rematch. What? I want my rematch next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's stupid. They should just like put out a fine print for rematch clauses or just cancel them. Like, nobody gets one. You know what I mean?
Trash.